Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today is December 10th, 2024, at the time of recording this. And today, I want to talk to you all about a topic that I feel is something that needs to be heard by everyone now, more than ever before. And that topic is gratitude. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started.
I got a call the other day.
I've been wanting to make this video for so long now. For so many months, I've thought about wanting to make this vlog on gratitude, but I never really knew what would be the best way to explain it to all of you. Now, for those of you that have been watching me for quite a while, I know this might seem a bit out of the blue and unexpected, since it's been so long since I've last done this. Now, you see, when it comes to a vlog like this, it's important for me to specify to all of you which type of gratitude I'll be discussing, because gratitude, you see, it can be talked about from a few different perspectives. If I were to talk to somebody about gratitude after they had just lost a family member or a loved one, that type of gratitude would be gratitude when it comes to loss, losing something. So knowing how to be grateful when you've lost something that you hold so dear to you is not the type of gratitude that I can really explain and don't really know how to explain. So for those of you that were expecting me to talk about gratitude from that angle, I apologize if I misled you from that. But the type of gratitude I wanted to talk about with all of you was gratitude when it comes to wanting to acquire a certain thing within one's life. And that certain thing could be either a certain job, a certain house, a certain car, a certain business, whatever it is. And whoever you are, wherever you are, and whatever it is that you're doing, you might have been putting in so much work to accomplish, to achieve, acquire that certain thing, and you still haven't gotten it after all this time and all this work that you've put in for so long. And it's not even that, but what makes it worse is that you don't even like what you currently have right now in your life, whether it be your living circumstances, the conditions that you're in, the resources that you have, and all of that is causing you to feel discontent with your life. And so I want to talk about gratitude from that perspective, because you see, gratitude is so easy for somebody to make such a worthless video on it by just simply saying, I'm so grateful for this, I'm so grateful for that, and that's the reason why you should be grateful too. But I didn't want to make my vlog like that. When I talk about gratitude, I want to talk about gratitude when it comes to why it matters and how it helps you to have a strong mind. Now, there's two reasons why I wanted to make this vlog. One, for myself, because I have made goals for myself for every single year that I've done YouTube. So for me, the certain thing that I want to acquire within my life is my dream job of wanting to be a YouTuber. And each year I've set goals for myself where every single year so far I haven't been able to accomplish those things. And I would feel a lot of discouragement from it. But ever since around May of this year, after watching a certain video, it just completely changed within me, just completely switched. And I want to explain how gratitude has helped me when it came to having a strong mind and strengthening my mental fortitude when it comes to that. But then also number two, now you see, this is going to be the most important thing. This is going to be the most important reason why I decided to talk about gratitude. Because some of you, as I've said, have been wanting to work towards a certain thing and wanting to achieve it. And right now, you might be on the verge of quitting. Or you might have already quit. And so, for those of you that have quit, or for those of you that are about to quit, I want to help before that happens. And for those of you that have already quit, I want to help you guys come back to the light. So with this video, guys, I wrote down notes about what it is that I wanted to talk about. And I came to the conclusion that there's going to be three main things that I'm going to be talking about to you guys when it comes to gratitude. And that's going to be the power of the mind, which is going to be about our perception and how we perceive everything in our lives. The second thing is going to be the experience of the journey, how appreciative we are of the moments that we experience within the present, and how we balance our life right now when it comes to working hard towards something and also knowing when to relax when it's necessary, and knowing how to realize that the most important things in life are what we have right now and not the things that we are trying to go after. And then number 3 is going to be the acknowledgement of our blessings and how we are not living life where the world is against us. And we must realize how privileged we are, how blessed we are to be in the position that we are in life right now. And I know for those of you that are so frustrated with life and so discontent with where you are, it might feel like the world is against you. But I truly want to help and have you realize that that's not the case. But if by the end of this video nothing has changed, then I'm so sorry for having wasted your time. So let's go ahead and begin with gratitude. But you see, actually, here's the thing. It's so easy for people to just simply say certain things and act like they actually mean it. It's so easy for people to just simply say that they do these things or that they believe in these certain things, but they don't actually practice what they preach. And so I thought to myself, how is it going to be possible for me to show everybody that I can have an understanding of what it's like to be dissatisfied and how I should be grateful, how I can apply gratitude within my life, and how everything that I'm saying is something that I truly mean myself. And that's when I came to the conclusion that what I should do in order to prove to everybody that what I am saying right now is something that I truly mean is by showing you all how I record in my car. Now, for those of you that are new, you might not have even known that. Or maybe you already got the idea from the very beginning of this video, the intro, when I was sitting inside my car right now saying that we're going to be talking about gratitude. But for those of you that aren't new, you've already seen me recording in my car for so long now. Now, for those of you that are new, and even for those of you that know me, I'm not homeless. That's not the reason why I record in my car. It's because with the level of passion and enthusiasm that I have to record gaming videos on my channel, it is literally impossible for me to maintain and contain my energy while recording inside of an apartment house. It is literally impossible for me to be able to be as enthusiastic and to be as energetic as possible with my videos, while also simultaneously trying to be considerate of my neighbors and not cause any noise disturbances. I was so frustrated with life that I was placed in such an unfair circumstance. And I explained last year why I record in my car, but I never actually showed you guys how I record in my car. So now, I think is the time that I show you all how I record in my car. Because this will go to show to you how even with this, you see, so many people would have made so many excuses in the book. People would have made every single excuse from the book as to why they can't do YouTube and why they would never be willing to go this far to record YouTube videos in their car. And so I want me recording my car to always be in the back of everybody's mind with every single point that I'm about to address. So right now, let's go ahead and head back to my car. And let me show you all how I record my YouTube videos and how resourceful I've had to become in order to do such a thing like this for so long. So when I record in my car, guys, I record in the back seat of my car. I never record at the front because there'd be no way for me to set certain equipment up, like my microphone, which I'm about to show you guys right now. So obviously I first have my camera and my camera stand, but I don't use this specific camera to record my videos. I use this tiny one right here, and the reason why I do is because it helps me record for long periods of time. I'm able to record for up to 8 hours with this camera. But I place my camera on this stand right here. So basically this place where you're able to keep things inside if you open it. I put my camera on this right here, as well as my camera stand, because that's really the only good positioning that I have when it comes to recording in my car, in the back seat right here. So I get my camera, I get my camera stand, I place it on that right there. I grab my microphone, and the reason why I bought this specific microphone is because of the way it's designed, because of how it fits in my car. You see, beforehand I bought a different microphone. I bought the Blue Yeti, and I thought the audio quality was very amazing. But when I first started recording in my car, you see, I've went through so much trial and error when it came to recording my car. When I first started recording my car, I was like, oh, I need this. Oh, I realized I need that. Oh, I realized I can't do this. Oh, I realized I can't do that. And as time went on, I started realizing that this is the exact type of setup I need to have. So I used this microphone right here because due to the way that it's designed, I'm able to fit it inside this empty section in my chair right here. This empty headspace right here between the head section of the car and the rest of the body section of the car. And what I do is I literally just fit this microphone inside right here. I fit it inside right here so that the microphone is able to perfectly be in a position where it's able to pick up the sound of my voice perfectly. You guys can even see it in the frame. However, that's because the camera chair is, or the chair is a bit closer than usual. Usually I push it back a little bit to make it like that. So after I get my microphone, and then obviously there's also some USB cables that I use to set it up to my computer, to connect it to my computer, to my laptop. But speaking of my laptop, the next thing I do is I grab my laptop and I get my mouse and my charger as well. I get my mouse and I plug it into my laptop, and I also grab my charger and plug that in as well. Now you see, the thing is, in a car, you don't have a way to charge a device when you need a plug like this. And again, this goes back to the whole trial and error. What I needed to do was buy myself a power inverter, which comes with plug outlets, which obviously this isn't on right now, but when it's on, I plug this in and I turn it on, and when this is at full battery, I'm able to transfer the energy from this power bank to my laptop so that it can charge. And I'm able to charge it for about 2 hours. I bought 2 of these, and each one costs about $150. I spent $300 just so that I can make charging my car portable, mobile. And then I also bring this down so that I can have a place to move my mouse around. And then after that, I just simply go ahead and put on my headphones, and then I open up my laptop and I set everything to the right settings, and then I start recording. I pack up all this gear and I drive for 20 minutes, 10 of those minutes on the highway, just so that I can, after all that, take all this gear out and start recording, and then set all this gear back into my backpack to go back home and start editing for several hours of the day. Meanwhile, all that these other people have to do is just simply go to their room and turn on their computer. Just simply turn everything on in the comfort of their own house. When you are as ambitious as myself of wanting to become a YouTuber, and you set goals for yourself for several years that you constantly don't reach over and over again, and you have to go out of your way to go this far just to do simple things. When you're as ambitious as I am, and you have to record in your car, and you feel as though that the world is completely against you because of how unfair it is that you have to do that, meanwhile other people get to record in their house, get to record in their mansion, they don't have to worry about anything. Because recording in my car, I'm out in the open, I'm completely vulnerable. If somebody wanted to try and mug me, what am I going to do about it? When you've been doing it for several years, it's so easy to feel so angry at the world and to feel so discouraged. that you have to do all of this. I've been recording in my car ever since February 2022. I've been doing YouTube videos since January 2020. But February 2022 is when I started recording in my car. And now it's December 2024. And I still record in my car. So almost 3 years later, I am recording in my car, barely getting 50 to 100 views per video on average. And as of right now, on this day, I'm at 755 subscribers. I'd be lying to you if I said that back then I was not infuriated that I had to do all of this just to do the simplest of things and still not get anywhere with it, still not get anything out of it, still not be successful with this. I made a video at the beginning of last year in January 2023 while I record on my car, and I just want to play a clip right now to show you guys some of that frustration that I felt of wanting to record in my car.
These big YouTubers, they really need to be grateful, and they need to be absolutely conscious and have the full realization of how lucky and blessed they are, that there isn't anything in life, that the current situation that they are living in does not hold them back from anything and allows them to do YouTube and to excel in YouTube at their fullest capability. They have to be aware of that. They have to know that. They have to. Because it just makes me so mad at how unfair it is that I have to record in my car compared to these people who get to record in their giant mansions. You think I want to record in my car, guys? You think that this is the most comfortable place for me to record in? No. I record here because I have no other choice. Because I can't make any excuses for myself. I had to come up with an option. I had to become resourceful. And I'm sorry. I don't want to get mad, but like sometimes I really hold back a lot of my anger, guys. So I kind of like revealing my true colors a little bit here.
And then later on in October 2023, I also showed my frustration once again of having to record on my car, and how that is on top of all of the things that I already have to do in life, just the standard grind in life of having to work, having to do college, and still trying to find a way to balance that with YouTube, and then having to do YouTube in this specific unfair circumstance. I have a life outside of YouTube that already drains me of my energy. Every single video that I have uploaded, I am using literally the scraps of my energy to can make the best video possible. And so when I'm already trying to make that sacrifice and I'm already putting in extra work compared to other people, for me to have to put so much in to get so much little, you have absolutely no idea how frustrating that is. It was getting rough for me up here. But in May of this year, something completely switched inside of me. And it was after I watched this video. I don't want to mention his name because I know some people might not like him. Or who knows, maybe there are people that do like him. I'm just focusing on the wrong areas, on the wrong sides of the internet. But I watched The Rock have this podcast with Joe Rogan. And there was this short clip that somebody made where they just took this certain moments out from the entire podcast, because the entire podcast was like an hour, 2 hours long. But they took this 8-minute clip from that video, and it was about The Rock and Joe Rogan talking about gratitude. And ever since I watched that, I'll try to put a link in the description for that video that I'm talking about. Ever since I watched that video in May, I've completely changed. And it made me realize that even with all of this, I'm still grateful for what I have. Because of the way that I apply gratitude, the way that I think of gratitude, the way that I think, the way I perceive, my perception on life. So now that I've went ahead and showed you all how I record in my car, let's go ahead and start talking about these 3 main points about gratitude. When you take all of this into mind and add that on top of having to find a way to balance this with the standard work that is required of me to do in life, of having to go to work, having to go to college, and having done this for so many years, even without any actual success, it feels worse than the world being against you. It feels as though that the world wants you to fail. Do you have any idea how ambitious you need to be in order to continue doing that despite all of the lack of success that you've seen for all these years? For me to have been doing this for so many years, for the amounts of videos that I have made, for the amounts of time that I've put in, you can feel as though that you have to get something out of this, but you don't. And I almost felt like I was in a worse position in life compared to other people. And I was so wrong for thinking that. And I'm going to explain to you all why. Especially the third and final point that I'm going to talk about. I wanted to save that for last, because I think out of everything that I'm going to say, that is probably going to be the most impactful thing. That was the most impactful thing for me after I watched the video of Joe Rogan and The Rock talking to each other about gratitude on Joe Rogan's podcast. So let's start with the first point about the power of the mind. Now you see, with these points, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first bring up an example within my life, and with that example, I'm going to tie that in with the point that I'm talking about and how that ties in with gratitude. So when it comes to the power of the mind, this has to do with perception. And with perception, I thought about, okay, what is a perfect way that I can show people how powerful perception can really be? And I thought, why not just talk about my job? So for me, the current job that I'm working right now is Domino's. I'm a pizza delivery driver. I used to work Uber Eats and DoorDash before, even within this year, but once it started to get much slower, I was no longer able to continue doing it because I wasn't able to make a consistent amount, a stable amount of money, of income from that job. Now with Domino's, you see, and this is more than just simply with Domino's, you know. This could be even with other jobs that I was working to, even Uber Eats and DoorDash. So there are certain days, as much as you might like your minimum wage job, there are definitely going to be certain days where you don't want to go to work, where you're not really going to be happy of wanting to go to work and doing the same mundane tasks for your job. So there are certain days, right, where I go into work and I'm not really feeling it at all. Right? Like, I just don't want to be here. And it's not even that I have anything against the job or anything against my employees either. But, you know, it's just, it's not where you want to be forever, right? Like with this job right now that I'm doing, I don't see myself continuing to do it for the next 20 years of my life. And knowing that there is something better that I could be doing, especially in my case, right? Because I'm thinking to myself, the reason why some days I'm not happy with is because, like, damn, dude, you know, this job is nice and all, but you know what would be way better than this? Being a YouTuber. So there are definitely certain days where I'm not really in a good mood. I have a bad perception with my job, and it will just add on to that state of negativity that I'm currently feeling in my mind. However, there are certain days where I actually am happy, where I'm not focusing on what I could be doing in the future, but focusing on what I'm doing right now. And certain days where I actually do like my job. Certain days where I'm actually happy to go to work. And I'm actually happy with the certain things that I do. For example, me as a delivery driver, I get to listen to music while I'm driving on the road delivering these pizzas to customers. And some of those days, you know, I'm listening to some of these songs that I haven't listened to in such a long time, and it's just such a throwback. And it just makes me so happy to be in the position that I'm in right now. I get to listen to music, having the time of my life, delivering these pizzas and making good money. On those days, I'm having a good perception with what I'm doing. And it's crazy to me because I'm doing the exact same things, but because of how different I'm feeling, what I'm doing also feels so different. And you know, I started thinking a few months ago, how on earth is that even the case? How is that even possible that I'm doing the exact same thing? Nothing has changed. All the jobs, all the tasks that I'm doing for my job, everything, whether it be delivering pizzas, listening to music on the road, or helping with cutting pieces or packing food up at the backside of the oven. How is it that I'm doing all of these exact same things, but somehow, some way, because of the way I was feeling, it's as if I was doing something completely different? And that's when I thought to myself of this one quote from John Milton, I don't know if any of you guys know him, but once I say this quote, I'm pretty sure many more of you guys are going to absolutely know what I'm talking about. But from his poem called Paradise Lost, his quote was, "The mind is its own place. It can make a hell out of heaven and a heaven out of hell." And when I tie that in with my own personal life and how that ties in with perception, it just completely made sense to me. Because you see, a lot of us, like I said earlier on, we may not be happy with where we currently are in life. And that's not even just simply with when it comes to the type of failures we've had to endure for all this time, but it can also be due to the type of circumstances, conditions, and resources that we have in our life, and that we're not happy with those things, and that we want either more or we want something better than that. And sometimes, because of that negative state of mind, we might think that these are bad things within our lives. So just like for me, when it comes to recording in my car, I was thinking that that was a bad thing within my life. So now, how is it that I'm now starting to feel grateful for recording in my car? How does this tie in with being grateful? Because sometimes in life, it's not necessarily that we have bad things within our lives, but instead we have a bad perception on the things within our lives. And that bad perception is what's controlling how we feel, not only about those particular things that we have in our lives, but in our lives in general, period. Because just like with that quote of John Milton, the mind is its own place. It can make a hell out of heaven and a heaven out of hell. Sometimes it's not just simply the things that you have in your life. It's about what you make out of the things that you have within your life. So when it comes to my job, it's completely up to me as to what I make out of it. Whether I want to enjoy my job or be completely miserable with it. It's the same thing with my car, recording in my car. It's up to me. I didn't have this. Me recording in my car was not actually a bad thing within my life. It was simply me having a bad perception of recording in my car. I had a bad perception on that particular circumstance that I have within my life. And that it's up to me as to what I make out of it, as to whether or not I want to feel miserable about the fact that I record in my car, or to feel happy about the fact that I get to record in my car. I'm gonna be using that word, getting to do something instead of having to do something. That's going to be something that we're going to be talking about in the final points, the acknowledgement of our blessings. But you know, it's also another thing that I could bring up as well is you know, a lot of you guys might also know this quote as well, but this question, is the glass half full or half empty? And regardless of what you say, you're right. The glass is half full and the glass is also half empty, right? But even though both statements are correct, both perceptions are true, even though they are the same when it comes to how correct they are not the same when it comes to how that will direct you within your life. So you can have a bad perception, a half-empty perception, or a good perception, half-full perception. But depending on the type of perception that you have within your life, that perception will lead to you having a certain mindset. And that mindset will lead to you having performed certain actions. And those certain actions that you perform based off of the mindset and perception that you have will cause you to have a certain life or a certain outcome within your life. So if you have a bad perception, you will go on to have a bad mindset. And if you have a bad mindset, you will go on to do bad actions. When you start doing bad actions, when you start committing bad actions, you will eventually have a bad life. And if you have a good perception, you will then go on to have a good mindset. And when you have a good mindset, you will go on to commit good actions. And when you start committing good actions, eventually, you will have a good life. I mean, I can apply this myself when it comes to recording in my car. I was having a bad perception with recording in my car, and that led to me having a bad mindset of wanting to record in my car. Now, what could the possible bad actions be when it comes to that? Eventually, one day, my mindset, my perception could become too negative when it comes to that, and I would feel too discouraged to the point where I would feel like I wouldn't even want to record. So there you go, right there. That'd be a bad action right there. I would stop doing YouTube videos. And eventually, what would be the bad outcome of my life from that? I would quit YouTube. And I would never live the life that I would want to live as a YouTuber. However, if I were to have a good perception with my car, with recording my car, like how I now have within this year, especially within these last few months, I will have a good mindset of recording in my car. And what are those good actions? That I keep going, that I don't stop. And the good outcome of my life being that eventually I will get my breakthrough. Whatever video it is, whatever game that I play, right? And so for me specifically, that's how it is for me. But, I don't want to make it just simply about YouTube. But if you're somebody who's trying to, grow a business, if you're somebody who's trying to become a singer, somebody who's trying to become an athlete, somebody who's trying to become an actor, right? Eventually you'll have that breakthrough where you'll be able to have that successful YouTube channel. You'll be able to have that successful business. You'll be able to have that successful singing career. You'll be able to have that successful acting career, that successful pro athlete career. Now, I need to be more specific because this isn't really being specific enough when it comes to tying in with gratitude. How does this tie in with gratitude? Because when we start to become grateful within our lives, most specifically for what we have, to no longer feel discontent or dissatisfied with what we have and feel as though that the world is against us, what happens is when we start becoming grateful, our perception changes. Hence, the power of the mind. When we have the power to become grateful for what we have, even if there are people out there who truly have better than us, when we have the power to be grateful for what we have, regardless of how little it may be, we can have the power to keep going. We can have the power to become grateful. And we can have the power to change our perception. And that's something that I've started to do within this year. So now the next thing we're going to be talking about is the experience of the journey. Now, when it comes to this, it's about knowing how to live in the present. You see, it's important that we focus on the future as well, so that we can know how to plan ahead. But sometimes we might become consumed by the future because that's the only thing that matters to us. Because why? What's in the future? The achievement of our goal. Because right now in the present, we're working towards that goal, but in the future is the achievements of that goal. And that's the only thing that matters to us. All we want is that thing. Again, that certain thing that we're working for. That's all we want. We just want that thing because we don't like what we have right now. So why would we focus on what we have right now? Why would we focus on something that we don't like rather than focus on something that we do like? So of course, it would make sense to focus on the future. But when you don't like what you have right now, that only makes things worse for you. In life, when it comes to whatever it is that we're working towards, whatever that certain thing is, sometimes we become so tunnel visioned with our goal and we completely become consumed by whatever it is that we're being ambitious with, where it almost comes to a point where we feel as though that our ambition has now become our prison. If there are certain days, if there is a time in your life where you are feeling burnt out, and I mean truly, truly, truly burnt out, take some days off. There's absolutely no harm in doing that. What I was starting to realize with myself when I was recording all these videos, maybe not all of them, but there were several times, several instances where I would be putting in this grind. I would be working so hard to get after this thing, but I wasn't having fun. I wasn't enjoying the grind. The reason why I wasn't having fun is because I was too focused, too fixated on my goals. Because like I said, it became my prison. That was the only thing that I was doing within my life. And sometimes we need to remember that as much as we love the certain things that we go after, there is more to life than just simply our dream. There are other things that we enjoy within our lives as well. And so the example that I want to give when it comes to that is that when there are times where I'm not really having fun with YouTube and I feel as though that it's because I'm being burnt out, as if I'm forced to do it, what I'll just simply do is, of course, I'll take some time off, but I'll also relax by doing other hobbies within my life. It makes it easier for us to have a balance within our life because that will lead to us having more energy, more focus, and more productivity within our day-to-day. Because sometimes you might think that, you don't like what you have right now because you think that the thing that you're working towards to right now in the future is all that matters. And when it comes to that thing, right? Let's just go ahead and call it the North Star, right? So you're working towards that thing and it's out there in the distance, right? There's the North Star right there. While that thing is always there out in the distance, we might think that that's what's most important to us. And so while the North Star is always out there, the thing that truly matters the most is the stuff that's right here, right in front of us. And what's the stuff that's right in front of us? Our life, our family, our friends, our loved ones, our job even, our health. The reason why these are the things that matter the most is because these are the things that we have within our life that even allow us to go after what we want. Where if we did not have these things to begin with, it would be completely devastating and catastrophic for us within our lives, to the point where it would literally prevent us from even being able to do what we wanted to do. And you know, that reminds me, you see, I used to watch Beyond Scared Straight, or at least some clips of Beyond Scared Straight, like inmates, prisoners, on YouTube. But that, man, there was this one clip that I saw of where the inmate, the guy, he was talking to these young kids, trying to prevent them from ending up like him. And he was talking about like his experience in prison and how different it was from when he had a normal life. And he was saying how he can't just go to the fridge anymore. He can't just simply grab the remote and turn on the TV or switch the TV to a different channel. He can't just simply do, other things within his life that he used to do when he was when he was not in prison but living in his house. And I will never forget what he said to those kids afterwards, when he said, "These were simple things that I took for granted." These things that we have right now within our life in the present, we become so accustomed and so entitled where we don't even realize how vital the things are that we have right now. So why does this tie in with gratitude? Because these simple things that we don't even realize are more important, more vital than we think they are. They are the reason why we are even able to do the things that we are trying to do in the future, because of the foundation of our present. If we learn to be grateful about the present right now and find ways to create a balance within our life, to work hard in the present, but also knowing when to relax and appreciating the present, appreciating the moments, appreciating the things that we have right here, and not putting all of our focus on what's out there. Because at the end of the day, you don't even know if you're going to actually get the thing over there. I'm just saying, failure is a real thing. There are people who have never accomplished their dreams ever. And that's the harsh, grim reality of this world. So you don't even know if you're going to be one of those people. I would love to hope that every single one of us do get to accomplish whatever it is that we want, that we all do get to acquire our certain things. But just know that in life there are people who did work for their entire lives and never got it, ever. And so they put in all that sacrifice and they didn't even enjoy what they had right now. So it was a lose-lose. At least if you were to enjoy what you have right now, at the end of your life, if you were to never have achieved what you had, at least you could look back on those fond memories that you created and at least appreciate those things that you had. Because at least having those few things within your life is better than having nothing at all. Being grateful for the present and being grateful for the present circumstances, the circumstances that we have in our life right now, everything that we have in our life right now, our friends, our family, our loved ones, for some of you that are in a relationship, your spouse, your children, even your own kids, and realizing how those are the things that truly matter the most. These simple things that we take for granted, like how that Beyond Scared Straight inmate took those simple things for granted as well. You never realize how important those things are until they're gone. But for me, I've realized now how important those things are, and they've made me become happier that I have them. And because I've become happier that I have them, that's caused me to have a strong mind. And it's helped me realize that the world is not against me. Because I feel like the underlying, the root of it all, one of the roots of being ungrateful, is thinking that the world is against you. That everything is unfair only for you. But how can that be the case when all those things that you have right here exist. Especially when there are other people that don't have that. Knowing that those things that you have right now in your life, the things that have set up the foundation for you, for where you are today, that have allowed you to go to where you want to be tomorrow, is something that you should truly look at in a different way. So that's the experience of the journey. And now we're going to go on to the final point when it comes to the power of the mind. Now, when it comes to this point, this one I wanted to make it so impactful because, like I said about that certain podcast that I watched of Joe Rogan and The Rock talking about gratitude, this point that they made was literally what made me completely switch in May of this year. As a matter of fact, I actually want to stop right now and I want to read to you all a comment that I read. Or not a comment, but a post, a community post from a YouTuber who already quit. Because it will help me show how he's an example of what not to do, of what not to think, of what not to say, of what not to feel. We're going to go ahead and read that comment right now. And I'm going to explain how that ties in with this point of acknowledging our blessings. Now, this comment that I'm about to read to all of you guys right now, I'm not going to reveal the name of this YouTuber that I'm talking about because I just want to protect his identity, and he might not even, like the fact that I'm using his comments, that I'm using his community post right now. So at the very least, I just don't want to reveal his identity and who he is. But just know that this was a gaming YouTuber who nearly had 8,000 subscribers, and just recently he quit after having done YouTube for so long. So this was the post that he said. Today I checked my views from my most recent video and compared it to the views from videos that are 3+ years old. They were basically identical, with the exception of some videos that would perform well randomly. I've been posting on this YouTube channel since I was in middle school, and now I'm about to graduate college in a couple of years. This has been my dream job for over a decade, and I thought the more I do it, the easier it'll get. And while it did get easier, it also got to a point of me not caring to continue doing it anymore. I've invested so much money and so much time that I'll never get back. I pretty much spent my childhood chasing this dream, only to lose. I see my YouTube friends and other random YouTubers gain popularity, and I wonder when it will be my turn. But sometimes you have to be honest with yourself. So, I came to the conclusion that I don't have what it takes to be a YouTube gamer. It sucks, but I have years of patterns to back up this idea. I've been thinking about ending my channel for years now, but my passion kept me going. I've posted over 1,000 videos on this channel. Each video takes around 3 to 5 hours to make. I wonder how my life would be if I spent that time doing something else. This is the final post I will make to this channel. Thank you everyone for everything. The amounts of problems that exist within what this young man was saying. You see, the problem isn't even that he quit, but the reasons why. The certain statements that he made. Because what scares me the most about what he said is that from time to time, I would think just like him as well. The thing that really got to me the most is when he said, I've invested so much time and money into this. And the fact that he tried to say that as if it was a bad thing. And for some of you, you might also think that too. Because you might think that when you've done something for so long, that you're supposed to be getting somewhere with it. It's almost like you demand something out of it when you've done it for so long. And that's why I felt like what this guy said just now in his final goodbye post, it would serve as the ultimate starting point for this third and final point of gratitude, the acknowledgement of our blessings. In life, guys, when we try to go after that certain thing for so long, you might think it's a matter of perception. All these things that I've said so far, they're all a matter of perception, but in different ways. How we perceive our current living circumstances with the power of the mind, how we perceive the present and what we currently have right now versus what we want to have in the future when it comes to the experience of the journey. But then when it comes to the acknowledgement of our blessings, the perception is how we perceive how blessed we are to even do these things that we are doing right now. And also, I want you to keep in mind, I saw some of YouTube videos of that guy. Now here's the thing, he was a channel with almost 8,000 subscribers, and on average he'd get about like 200 views per video. He got to 8,000 subscribers. All I ever wanted was to get to 1,000. And here I am now at 755. The reason why when he said I've invested so much time and money into this, and that is what stood out to me the most as to what was the most wrong thing he said, the most wrong mindset that he had. Because you see, it's easy to think of that in a negative way, a half-empty way, a bad perception, rather than a half-full way, a good perception. Because you think, of course, it's easy to think that, yeah, I'm supposed to have gotten somewhere because of all the time that I spent into this. We've become so naive within life that we think that that's how the world works. That the world is so fair. That as long as you put in the work for a certain thing and you keep doing it for so long and you keep putting in all your effort for so long, then you will be guaranteed that certain thing. But the reality is we are not guaranteed anything in life. And we do not deserve anything in life. Because you see, the thing that truly made me become so grateful is when I started thinking about my grind in a way where I no longer started thinking of it as, this is something that I have to do. But instead, this was something that I started to think of as something that I get to do. You can look at whatever it is that you're doing in life and think to yourself like, oh man, I have to do this. Or you can think of it as something that you get to do. Because like I said, life is not fair. You are in a position right now, let's just take this in the bigger picture. There are roughly about over 100 million YouTubers in the world. But there are over 7 billion people on this planet. Now, on its face, 100 million people is a lot. But in comparison to the rest of the world, we are a part of the very few amount of people. 100 million compared to 7 billion, that's nothing. We are amongst the very few who are able to even do this in the first place. Because the reason why you have to look at this as something that you get to do, and not something that you have to do, is because there are so many people who live in the most tragic circumstances imaginable that will never be able to do this. And that's the reason why I said that life is not against you. Do you know what life truly is? Life is indifference. That's what life is. So when bad things happen to you, it's not going to care. And also when good things happen to you, it's not going to care either. But life is not going out of its way to try and deliberately do bad things for you or deliberately do good things for you. But that also means that there will be some people that are on the short end of the stick. I was thinking to myself about how difficult it was, how unfair it was for me to record in my car. How dare I think that it is unfair for me to record in my car when I even get to record in the first place? People in China, people in Iran, they can't even do YouTube. It is not even allowed. When you start thinking to yourself about how bad your life is, always remember that there are people that are going through much worse than you. And that does not mean that you should feel even worse about life. It means that you feel sympathy for those people that are going through worse than what you're going through, and you have compassion for them. But then you are also happy for the things that you have, like the ability to go after your dream, the ability to go after that certain goal that you set for yourself in your mind. So when he was saying that he invested so much time and so much money, and he said that in a negative way, this is what he was thinking. I've invested so much time and so much money, and that's the reason why it's such a bad thing. Because I haven't gotten to where I want to get. You know how I would think of it? I've invested so much time and so much money. And that's exactly why I'm so blessed. Because nothing in life, nothing tragic in life has occurred for me that could prevent me from doing this anymore. The fact that I am still here and still able to do this is such a blessing. I've been able to invest so much time and so much money, and I'm so glad that I've been able to. When there are people who haven't even been able to spend a single day. I was complaining about recording in my car, packing everything up, having to drive for 20 minutes, and then having to set everything up, record, put everything away, drive back home for 20 minutes again. and then start editing. I guarantee you other people who have cars, there are other people that would absolutely be willing to do it. The problem is just that they can't. I guarantee you, if there was somebody who was living in, I don't know, a place like Ukraine or in a place like Palestine, to choose either between the life that they're living right now or to live the life that I'm living right now, getting to go home and having peace, just basic normal peace within my life, and being able to do something like record YouTube videos in a heartbeat, they would rather choose my life instead of the life that they're living right now. I'm pretty sure there would be people that live in those countries that have the same dream as me of wanting to be a gaming YouTuber. They just can't do it. They don't get to do it. And when I was talking just now about how that me being able to invest so much time and so much money is such a blessing, even if I didn't get to where I want to. But the fact that I even have the opportunity to try and go after it, to try and get to a certain place with this, is because I think to myself, there might have been other people who were doing this too, just like me. But their time was cut so abruptly because of some type of tragic circumstance that's happened within their life. And I just think to myself, what if something such as their family having passed away caused them to literally quit their dream of wanting to go after that certain dream job, wanting to try and go after that certain dream house, dream car, dream business, whatever. And that's the reason why. The fact that I've been able to continuously do this constantly without any type of interference, any type of interruption, any type of disturbance, any type of hindrance within my life, that is something that we should be placing our focus on. Because I remember myself when I wasn't able to do this. Not when it comes to YouTube specific, not when it comes to just YouTube overall, but specifically when it comes to indie gaming, of wanting to do Let's Plays. Specifically of these indie games, like for example, Friday Night Funkin'. I remember when Friday Night Funkin' first came out in January 2021, and I remember watching YouTubers play the game. But I also remember being so jealous of them for being able to play those games. Because at the time, the type of laptop that I had was so horrible. It was literally impossible for me to be able to play any of these games at all. To even play a single game, period. And I just thought to myself, man, how happy would I be just to simply play the game? I didn't even care if I didn't get to record the video, just to record the game on my channel. I just simply wanted to play the game. And it wasn't until September of 2021 that I got to finally buy a gaming laptop. And I was so blessed because the reason why I even had enough money to buy a gaming laptop, you see, that's another thing. We're so privileged that we even have the right equipment to play the games where they need to meet a bare minimum system requirements. There are so many people who probably do not have the money to be able to spend on these things. So when he's talking about investing so much money as if that's a bad thing, oh, you're focusing on how much money you lost rather than how many things you were able to get with that money, such as being able to use that money to literally get the equipment, to get the gear that meets the bare minimum system requirements to even operate these games with a certain type of graphics cards, with a certain type of RAM that's needed. Otherwise, the computer would literally explode if you were to try to play those games because it can't handle that game. But when I got my laptop in 2021, the first thing I did was play Friday Night Funkin'. And I was just so happy. And that's partially the reason why 2022 to this day is still one of the best years on my YouTube channel. Because that was the beginning of me truly being able to do it. It was when I was finally able to get to do it, where I get to do YouTube, where I get to do Let's Plays, where I get to play these indie games. And this guy that I was talking about just now, he was probably playing Friday Night Funkin' during that time. This guy who was talking about I invested so much time, so much money, he was probably one of those people who was playing Friday Night Funkin' during the time that it was released. And I was one of those people who wasn't able to do that. So that's something that he should have kept in his mind. So here's the ultimate problem that I had with that comment, and why this perfectly depicts where I think most of you guys are with your state of mind. when it comes to thinking that you have to do this rather than you get to do this. It's because this post that this guy made shows how much entitlement he had. He didn't even realize how blessed he is. How he took these simple things for granted, right? Just like that beyond scared straight inmates. He felt so entitled. He thought that because he's been putting in all this work that he deserves, that he demands success, that he demands to get something out of all of this, and that because he hasn't, that the world is against him. Right, the world is against him because he's doing something that only a few amount of people are even able to do in the world. 100 million compared to 7 billion. That is a few amount of people that are able to do it within the world. Of course, on its face, 100 million is a lot of people. But compared to the entire world, that is nothing. The world is against him because he's a part of the very few that can do this. We come to a point where we start thinking that the work that we are putting in, that our grind, has now become a burden. We become so entitled that we think that this work has now become a burden. It's a burden that we do this. As if us putting in this work means that we are in a worse position in life than people who don't do this work. We are in a worse position for doing something that so many people would give anything in the world to be able to do. No. We become so entitled. And we start thinking that this is a burden, an obligation. That we are obligated to do this. This is not an obligation. It's not an obligation when the majority of people don't do it. It's a blessing. It's a privilege that we do this. And I have every right to say this. Don't you dare think for a single second that I can't say this, that I don't understand. Like I said, I record in my car. And while it may not be as impressive because I'm not homeless, do you have any idea how much ambition you need to have to do something like that? More importantly, do you understand how much faith you need to have in order to do that? To do it for so long, to not get anything out of it, and to still keep doing it for so many years. I've been recording in my car for 3 years now. I would have more of a right to think that the world is against me compared to this guy who is recording in the comfort of his house, who literally, with the work that he's put in, has gotten up to 8,000 subscribers. And meanwhile, all I've wanted to do is get to 1,000. I've been recording in my car for 3 years, editing videos up until the middle of the night for 3 years, getting barely 50 to 100 views per video for 3 years. All of that, and all the world thinks that I deserve from that, is 755 subscribers. Not even 1,000. I'd have every right to feel like the world is against me. I could feel so entitled. I could feel like this is a burden, that I'm obligated to do this, that I have it worse than other people because of this work that I choose to put in. It's a choice that we do this. No one is forcing us to do it, so how can it possibly be an obligation? There are so many people that wouldn't have been willing to go as far as I have, that wouldn't be willing to be as resourceful as I have. While so many people would have given so many excuses as to why they can't, I was giving so many reasons as to why I can. So even though I do this, and even though I've still gotten so little out of it, I've still learned how to be grateful. Because I realize that my mind is my own place, and that I can either make a heaven out of this hell, or make a hell out of this heaven. And I've realized that I need to appreciate what I have right now, because the stuff that's right here is what's most important, because they are what allow me to even go after the things that I want that's out there. And also realizing that I don't have to do this, I get to do this, reminds me all the time that this is not a burden for me for having done this, even if I haven't gotten to a point of success that I would want to get to for after this amount of time, but that it will always be a privilege and a blessing. Because where I was in September 2021, before I bought my laptop and was finally able to buy all these games and start playing all these games and record them on my channel, there are some people that are still where I was at in September 2021. To this day, they still haven't been able to record these videos at all. I've made over 400 videos, which means I've done this hundreds of times, and nothing in life has gotten in my way to prevent me from continuing to do this. And that's exactly why I'm blessed. If the world was against me, I would have been put out of action by now, because tragic circumstances happen every single day. So the fact that tragic circumstances happen every single day, and none of those tragic circumstances have happened to me for all these years, shows that the world is not against me, and that I do truly have it better than most people. I could just bring up worst case scenarios. What if I got into a car crash that caused my car to be completely totaled, and I wasn't able to get the money to get a new car right away? And for me, my car is more important than most people, because it's not just simply something that I drive around. And it's not even only my office too when it comes to working, right? Because it's practically my office if I use that for delivering food, for delivering pizzas for people for my job. But it's also literally what allows me to go after my dream, because I can be able to record to the fullest level of my enthusiasm and the fullest level of my energy while recording videos. But if I got into a car crash, for that amount of time that I don't have a new car, I wouldn't be able to record videos. Or take for example, if my parents, because I still live with my parents and my young sister, my entire family, I don't have to pay rent. But what would happen if my parents died? If they died in an accident, or if they died because they were killed? I wouldn't have anybody to pay rent. There wouldn't be anybody that I could live with that would pay rent. I would have to start living life where I would have to work more hours to make more money, enough money to pay rent. And with that, more time that I'd be spending on work would mean less time that I'd be spending on YouTube, to the point where I would never be able to do it anymore at that point. So now I think I need to conclude this video. And so with everything that I've said, there are three main things that I want you all to remember. Number one, the mind is its own place. It can make a hell out of heaven and a heaven out of hell. Number two, enjoy the ride. The North Star is out there, and you might think that's what's most important. But the things that are most important are the stuff right here. Because we don't even realize how important those things are until they're gone. Just like how that Beyond Scared Straight prisoner said, these were simple things that I took for granted. The things that you have in your life right now are what allow you to do the things that you are trying to go after in the future. And number three, you don't have to do this. You get to do this. There are so many people that would be willing to give anything in the world to be in the position that you and I are in right now. It is not a burden. It is not an obligation. It is a privilege, a blessing, that we have been able to do this, and not just simply once, but to do it for so long without having anything happen in our life that would prevent us from ever doing this again. And the fact that we are still able to continue doing this shows that the world is not against us. Count your blessings, because there are so many people in life that have less than what you have, and others that even have none. And, you know, the goal I had for this year was to reach 1,000 subscribers. But from the looks of it, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. But I'm still grateful that I even got to grow, because I've worked hard just to simply get here. There are people that I see where they are currently at right now with their subscriber count is where I was at several years ago. And so, even if I don't have the subscriber count of 1 million, I have the heart of 1 million. So thank you so much to everybody who's watched to the very end of the video. If you did, I really hope this helps you. And if not, then I'm so sorry for wasting your guys' time. But this has been the TheHarpyEagle, everyone. I will see you all next time. And until then, I hope you all will be grateful.